everything from helping athletes prepare for the Olympics, people climbing Everest, all the way through to cardiac rehabilitation, working with people who've got cancer, type 2 diabetes. So really the entire spectrum across the board of that, really. I'm involved in the UK in a lot of projects such as the Greater Manchester Health Innovations Project, where I'm primarily associated to work on type 2 diabetes and the reversibility of it through exercise and nutrition, cancer with regards to support and rehabilitation and support and treatment pathways. I'm part of the Active Cheshire group, which looks towards increasing people's physical activity across the whole county of Cheshire and how that impacts and plays a bigger part on a national scale. So everything across that kind of spectrum, really. I'm still involved in elite sport, do a little bit still with EIS, English Institute of Sport, with regards to performance pathway, and I work on a massive injury audit across all the Super League rugby teams in the UK with regards to how the backroom staff manage, rehabilitate, prep and prepare those guys to participate in competitive play 80 minutes 2-3 times a week for the entire season. So yeah, I don't know if there's anything I've missed out. I'm obviously a research coordinator and senior lecturer, so I still produce peer-reviewed research. Primarily that's either in the area of exercise physiology or nutrition, but there are a few kind of other parts of projects that I've got involved in with regards to publishing data. I run a gym on the Wirral in the UK, which is called the UTS, and we also have a charitable foundation which supports people across the Wirral who've had cancer or have cancer. And I think, without boring you to tears, Hugh, that's pretty much a highlight tour of the kind of things I get up to. But more importantly, if you don't mind, to set us off, if you could tell us a bit about your background and what it is that you do and how you got there, Hugh.
Yeah, so I initially started in industry about 20 years ago, nowhere to the level of yourself and your education. It's obviously quite an impressive CV you have. But for me, I started off as a fitness coach, kind of working my way through the commercial health clubs, went into personal training, did that, loved it. You know, I still see myself, I'm 20 years plus in the industry, still see myself very much as a personal trainer. But I moved into kind of the regional management, and then I suppose from then I kind of built a career into commercial health club and grew as a business owner as well. Is probably the best way of describing it, and a better understanding of how to run a business, grow a business as a trainer, from kind of being that growing trainer inside the four walls of a big box. So I'll give you a bit of an overview of me. So like I said, 20 years plus experience, worked as fitness PT up to regional management for a couple of the biggest operators in Ireland, and then moved over to the UK. I worked my way up to head of fitness at Virgin Active, where I spent 10 years. In my time as head of fitness and personal training at Virgin Active, we had, at the height of that business, we had 125 clubs, managed 1,100 personal trainers, and we turned over just shy of £30 million a year in PT. So we were a massive commercial beast in the PT world. So any kind of headache that a trainer went through or any issues a trainer had, I've pretty much experienced it in that role. Good, bad, and indifferent. We kind of had all different things inside of it. From Virgin Active, I then moved to Ballantyne's, where I was involved in setting them up in a PT and helping them evolve their PT business for a little bit. And then after that, I went in and did some consulting for WeWork. So what I did with WeWork was around a corporate wellness strategy. So how does a big corporate joint like WeWork look after the wellness of their people inside their four walls? So how do you get someone in Singapore versus someone in London to think about their wellness and to be fit and healthy? And that was obviously more around just understanding the mindset of an employee versus actually having them inside a commercial health club. So that was a great project, which I love. Kind of wrote a wellness strategy for that business. And then I'm currently sitting as the Chief Information Officer at My PT Hub. My PT Hub is a PT online platform. We're the biggest online personal training platform in the world. Currently, we have just over 90,000 personal trainers using our business. And we have 2.3 million clients inside our app, and we're in 188 countries. And one of the interesting stats in our platform is we sign a new user up every 2 minutes.
Wow.
So it's busy, and that's the most fascinating thing about tech, is the scalability of it.
Yeah, and the reach. I mean, that's, I mean, imagine, you know, those kind of stats and figures, even when you've been somewhere as big as Virgin Active and the kind of reach that's had, when you consider the kind of numbers and the global extent and reach of that, just by virtue of the fact it's the digital platform. It's phenomenal, really, isn't it? It really
Yeah,
is.
and it is. And I think the thing as well, and we probably get into it, but the PT, the personal training world, is still quite a young industry. It hasn't been around that long, and it's moving obviously at such a rate going into COVID, and obviously a lot has changed in the last 6 months in the world. But back when I was in Virgin Active about 2.5 years ago, we spotted that a lot of trainers were going online and tech was becoming part of their offering. So we kind of became first to market with actually digitalizing our commercial business. That's where I got involved with the PT Hub guys, was around how do you give a uniform client experience in the digital world, getting away from just having notepads or Google Drives. How do you uniform that as your brand and as your offering, which is kind of where personal training was going before COVID, and now obviously everyone is going after it in that respect.
Yeah. Well, if you don't mind, before we delve into more pressing matters, just because you've got such a global insight and a snapshot on what goes on, where do you see the commonality generally in coaching trends? So where would you say, from a kind of nationality point of view, you see a real consistency in practice and thought? And just out of interest, what are the most polarized? What are where the two most polarized regions that you get an insight into, where you go, over there they take a completely different approach to how they're doing it versus this place?
Yeah. So we've got quite a big reach in the States, and the States is probably a little bit more advanced than in some elements in the fitness wellness space, but they're very much around habit coaching, habit behaviors in America. Over here in the UK or even in Europe, obviously trainers are writing a lot of programs, they're coaching nutrition, the basics, but in the States, it's all about habits, healthy habit behaviors. And they don't spend so much time on the programming element, which is quite fascinating. They're all about just creating these healthy coaching habits. It's probably a bit like I don't know if you guys are familiar with the likes of precision nutrition. It's that understanding of, they don't ever tell you what to eat. They just coach the healthy habit to get you where you need to be. And then you kind of educate yourself along the way. And we see a lot of that in America, whereas I think in the UK, there's a bit more, this is the workout we're doing, this is what you need to eat, get it done. Whereas over there, they're like, I would like you to have 8 glasses of water for 14 days, and then we'll talk about something else in 14 days.
Yeah, I like that. I far more agree generally with that approach. I think, cultivating habits and behavior changes and concepts and principles sustainability and independence, whereas that autocratic, you do this, take this, then, far too prescriptive. But anyway,
and the thing is, though, you got to remember though as well that the client has changed in the last 5 to 8 years. Your clients are coming to you a lot more educated. So if you're prescribing something that they don't feel is right for them, that they're well enough educated to understand that they shouldn't be doing it. So I think that's where the whole coaching and the habit coaching is really growing trend.
Don't you find though, Hugh, that I agree. I do agree. I think that the better ones come pre-armed and they have an expectation and a greater understanding, and that informs what they ask for. But don't you also feel that in the age of misinformation, more so nowadays, we're dealing with people who are strongly in possession of misleading ideas, and that shapes their expectation, where they'll say, I've seen this on X, Y, and Z, someone's blog, and I think they're amazing. So if you're telling me the opposite of that, you must be wrong.
Well, that's where it's up to the trainer to be able to back it up with the research and a good understanding and credibility, and that's where you'll stand out in the crowd. Yeah. And I think that's where getting you guys probably talk about this more than anyone, but a level 3 is just your basic intro into your career. It's the courses you do after that upon your apprenticeship that dictates the caliber of trainer you become. So I think, a trainer who hasn't invested himself over a few years to become a better trainer will get caught out like that. But a trainer who's kind of kept adding to their credentials and becoming more educated will be able to back that up with the science and go, well, actually, what that person is saying is not correct for you because A, B, and C, etc.
Yeah. I totally agree. That's how you diffuse it, and that's how you counter it. But I think it's an interesting phenomenon. And I guess one final digress before we get stuck into the content of this. You made reference there to the change in the client base over maybe the past 8 to 10 years. Is it too soon, in your opinion, to take a temperature gauge of the change in the client base since onset of lockdown, COVID-19 in Western industrialized nations, like really from kind of February, March this year?
Yeah, so an interesting stat that we were looking at in February, we were actually looking at the stats. We're doing some projects at the moment, and the gym industry was growing by 13% year on year in February 2020. The fitness tech was growing by 50% year on year in February, and obviously then now COVID has happened. And there was an article I was reading. They're saying in the last 6 months, tech has kind of tenfolded 10 years, as in what's happened in 6 months is effectively 10 years of growth of what was additionally happening in the tech world. So if you think about it, in February 6 months ago, we were already trending at 50% year on year. Now they're saying we fast tracked 10 years. So I think it just shows that like the clients are now okay with the digital. They understand it. You know, the other side, you got to think about it, you know, someone like Apple coming into the market and all the research and all the data they have on what everyone's looking at from searching, from using their devices, they wouldn't be coming in as hot and heavy as they are if they didn't think that the client was open to the tech side of fitness. So I think it's here to stay, and it's just happened quicker than it was happening, is the way I would look at it.
Yeah. Well, if you don't mind then, Hugh, personally I found that really fascinating. I'm sure other people benefit from that as well. But if you don't mind, if we could more kind of dive into what your specific area of expertise. I know you've prepared some stuff to kind of guide this, so it'd be great if you could start to take us through.
Yeah, so what I was going to do is just give you guys an insight. So like I said, we've got 90,000 trainers using our platform. So what we get to see is a good understanding of what the trainers are using to be successful. And now I'll probably caveat that with, there's many different ways you can deem success as a personal trainer, as you know. Some people say it's on financial, some people saying it's on client retention. But ultimately what we're saying here is this is how we see trainers who have successful businesses in the remote coaching world. This is what we see them do. And there's 3 levels of that. So whatever success looks like to you, that is for you as a trainer to decide. But this is what we see inside our platform from the trainers who seem to stay in our platform the longest and have the most clients in our platform. This is kind of the secret sauce that we see them use effectively. So when we kind of look at the different areas of building a digital presence, we've kind of got it into 2 different elements of it. So we have digital products, which I'll speak a bit more about. And then of your digital products, there's different avenues that we go down with the digital products. So you've got memberships, one-to-one coaching, and then I'm going to speak a bit about a value ladder. So that's kind of where you put your time. And then you kind of need to understand how you put it all together. So what we see in the tech world a lot is trainers go download an app and they throw the kitchen sink at it and try to sell everything, but they don't know actually the different levels of getting it successful. And so I'll talk about how you put it all together once we kind of understand it a bit more. And then all this is usually underpinned by a good marketing strategy. You know, you can do all the great stuff and have all the different offerings as a PT, but if you can't market or get it to your audience, you know, it's not going to go anywhere. So just to kind of give you guys a real good understanding of what a digital product is. A digital product can be delivered and used by customers without you being there. So this is what you're talking about with, you know, on-demand or remote coaching. It's something that you create inside a platform, and then people can buy it from you and they can go off and deliver it without you. That is effectively what a digital product is. And some examples we see in our world will be a 12-week fat loss, 10-week muscle and building, 4-week mobility, and then 4 weeks CrossFit. So what you see in a digital product is trainers create like the micro cycles of different elements and then they sell it. So you might have your 12-week fat loss journey, and that might have 3 different phases. So phase 1, week 1 to 4 could be, I just want you to start tracking your nutrition and I want you to start going to the gym 4 times a week. Phase 2 will be the next progression, phase 3, etc. And then you package that up as a 12-week fat loss. And that can be done on whichever kind of product you're interested in doing, but that's just an example of how you put a digital product together. So when it comes to offering a digital product, you want different elements and different kind of markets that you want to go after, one being campaign based. So this is a structured thought process based around product delivery. So this is where there's a start and a finish. So this will be us talking about like a specific, you know, getting ready for Christmas or whatever it might be. It's just having an actual campaign that you're pushing. There's a start and an end of when they achieve the results. Evergreen will be your shop front. So this will be just something that's always available that customers can buy wherever you want. So this might be your standard 4-week fat loss journey, or it could be your 4-week rehabilitation program. And that will always be available as part of your offering. It just sits there on your website that people can buy as and when they want. But going away from your one that we talked about, the campaign, which might be your getting ready for summer transformation package, which is slightly different, which would only be available maybe April and May, and then you take it off.
Yeah.
And then there's special offers. So this could be you see this a lot in PTs. If this is what they want to do, this could be your Black Friday sales. So what is it that you're pushing? Or it could be your January sale or whatever it is. So these are different kind of special offers that you might want to push out into your audience that you have. And they can be different discounts, etc., that you want people to have, but they don't stay forever. So you need to make sure that the clients see that it's not, they have to buy it before the discount is gone. And that's kind of the different levels of digital products. And that's kind of the way we look at it. So what we'll talk about before we get into membership is there's 3 different tiers in the digital world of offerings. So you have your bottom tier, which is your memberships we'll speak about, the digital products which we spoke about, and then you have your one-to-one, which is your premium offering, which we'll kind of go into detail. But a lot of trainers, when they hear the word membership, get frightened. But what you need to think about memberships is it's creating reoccurring revenue for you as a PT, and that's the holy grail. You want money coming in on the 1st of every month. You want that reoccurring revenue that you know is guaranteed and it's in the bank. And that's where your membership in the digital world will really help you to be successful. So it helps you add that additional layer of security. And like I said, this is what you want as a PT. You know, going back to the time when I was heading up a commercial business, we had a direct debit PT business because you were guaranteed that money was coming in on the 1st of the month. You weren't kind of just ad hocing going, I hope my renewals are coming. I hope that my client is going to buy more when they get paid. And that's where a membership is a great business model, just because it helps you have that reoccurring revenue. And it doesn't need to be a massively high price point. You know, what we see a lot of the time is kind of hitting that $9.99, $14.99 sweet spot. So it's a low entry that people can buy and stay connected with you. And it gives them something. And that could be access to a couple of classes with you. It can be access to 1 or 2 of your pre-designed workouts or on-demand workouts. But it just gives you that value that members are paying £15 to stay connected with you. And then you hope that they'll buy into some of your higher end packages like your 12-week transformation, etc. So it gives you that lower barrier to entry into the world of digital, which is when clients are shopping around, they don't want to all of a sudden just buy the £200 a month package. Sometimes they like to just have a low entry into get to know the trainer and see what the trainer is about. Yeah. And it gives you that extra security. So like I kind of said, there's some of the parts that make a membership really good is the addition to your value ladder. So value ladder we'll speak about more, but this is how you as a trainer have different value to your clients and how you spend your time. And then it's like I said, it's your lowest cost option. So as a PT, I might be able to serve 30 clients a week if I'm really busy, but then I need to and want to earn more money as a trainer. So where can I go from there? And that's where you have your digital products, which people can buy, but then you have your membership, which is that low entry point into your business. An example of these digital products, which you guys will all know, will be the likes of Netflix, iTunes, Spotify, and that's the way we run our business. And it just means you have that reoccurring revenue coming every month. And it's not about charging massive money. It's just at a nice price point where people don't mind it coming out of their bank. They feel that the value is good enough. And, if you're just purely nutritionist, this could be just about giving people $9.99 to have membership to your platform where they get good education and they get to see recipe of the day, etc. And that's what people are paying the membership for, just to get exposure to your content inside your platform. And it's kind of what you see trainers don't understand, because they come from the world of, and I was guilty of it myself, where it's all about, I want to be with my clients, I want to be training with my clients, but there's only so many hours in the day. And that's where the likes of tech really help trainers build the business and have extra additional revenue streams coming into their business.
Well, that's, if you don't mind, that's where you tap out as a coach, isn't it? A personal trainer.
Yeah.
If you've got 40 hours to work and you spend them 40 hours to coach, then your programming happens on top of your 40 hours. So really you're working 50 hours already. Yeah. And then X, Y, and Z. Whereas this is really how you, from my point of view, this is really how you turn yourself into a business, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think the way you got to think about it, so you're obviously been in the industry like myself a little while. Imagine if we had something around where we added all our clients into this membership system. And even when clients become ex-clients because they move away or they go to different parts of the world or they change jobs, but there was a lower barrier offering that keeps them connected to me and they buy from me. Over the course of the last 15, 20 years, I would have a massive membership of my ex-clients and clients that are in my network that are paying me money. that I don't have to be physically training one-to-one. And that's the way trainers got to think about it. It's a security blanket for your business as you grow, and it gives you that, you know, reoccurring revenue in time. Whereas the next client now isn't just someone you kind of say goodbye to. It's the client says, I'm moving abroad. Great, no problem. I've got a membership option that you should buy into, and in there I've got this amount of programs, this offering that you can do. And then should you ever want to do a 12-week digital program, I have the next level that I can advise you on as well. So they still get the offering from you as the trainer versus you just letting them out of your ecosystem effectively.
Yeah, no, it's very good.
So kind of some of the benefits of a membership, like we spoke about, is the reoccurring revenue, you know, it's the solid foundation. And this is where I think trainers really need to start thinking with the business heads going. You know, if you could get 50 people you paying you £10 a month every month, you're in a very good business. And this could be your local network, your local health club, friends, families, whatever it might be. But it just gives you a great starting point at the start of every month as a security blanket to build on. And then it also gives you people to market to as well. So if you've got 50 people in there and you want to take 20 people into your weight loss package or transformation package, you can have 50 people who like you, who you can market directly to. And then we touched on this earlier on, but this is what I find most fascinating, because it's all digital. You've no overheads. You know, coming from the bricks, and I know you run a gym yourself. Coming from the four walls of bricks and mortar, overheads are the biggest downside to any trainer growing a business. And it's always going to be a biggest cost. Whereas digital, if you're paying, you know, whether it's £20 a month or £50 a month to a platform, whether you have 10 clients or 500 clients, you're only still paying £10 to £50 a month. You know, it's limited overheads, but the scalability is phenomenal. And that's where you see the likes of Peloton, as an example, in the tech world, becomes a $1 billion company, because it's only one site, but then they actually can do everything they need to do on a digital world, and not have to build in bricks and mortar all the time to grow their business.
Yeah.
So kind of some examples of how you grow your membership is an open and closed door strategy. So if any of the people who are watching has ever worked in a commercial health club, they'll know this. So the open door is it's always open, come in anytime you want. And then close will be you do it just for specific times. So join now and pay X, but that ends in 7 days time. So you have one or the other. Whereas the open is it's always $9.99 a month. It doesn't move. Whereas you might then have a special promo where you kind of do a quick open and closed door strategy. And then some other ways you grow your membership, and you guys can have these slides if anyone wants to download them as well, but will be the likes of a free trial. So you might give a 30-day trial into the platform. So inside our business, we give 30 days to anyone to come along and use our platform and get used to it. And then from there, they tend to buy more because they get to experience it. And you want to make sure that there's no barrier to entry. So you don't want to start putting in stuff like you need to have your credit card details first. When people are willing to buy from you, that's when you can start offering in credit card details. You want to have as little barriers as possible to get people into your ecosystem. Mm-hmm. So moving on from membership and digital products, the next thing, which is kind of the premium, is your one-to-one coaching. Now, what you see a lot of people is, and I'm kind of on the fence to this because I come from the old PT world, but one-to-one will always be a premium service because it's a very different offering. But a lot of trainers want to and believe that they should always be just fully online. For me, even though I work in tech, I think the hybrid is the way to go personally. I think, you know, there's nothing better than standing over a client, coaching a client and getting that real feedback, and then subsidizing with great tech, et cetera, because you can scale it to more people. But your one-to-one coaching should be your premium. And I know a lot of guys who are fully online, and that's absolutely fine. But I think there's only so many people can do it fully online. I think as a trainer, you want to have that hybrid element of, I'm a one-to-one coach. I do 30 hours a week of one-to-one PT, and I spend the next 10 hours of it doing my online business and growing my online business. Is a better way I would see of cutting it as a trainer. So one-to-one coaching, this will be your highest service you can offer as a personal trainer, as a coach, as we all know. And then what you offer at one-to-one coaching, it can be similar as well in the way of the digital world, where you can actually now, especially with COVID, one-to-one coaching may not be able to happen in the physical sense. So what you can do here is custom training plans, remote client check-ins, nutrition plans, and the accountability is what people are paying for. You know, anyone can go online and Google any of this stuff, but it's the accountability for you as a trainer they're paying for. And that could be, okay, at 9 a.m., every Monday morning, I need you to upload your weight. I need you to tell me what workouts you've done. And then we're going to work together remotely from 9 till 9:45. And whether it's a Zoom session, we're going to train and we're going to discuss everything you've been doing. And that is remote coaching in the current world we live in. So you can do remote coaching through the screen, or it could be a case of that you have some clients that are one-to-one physical clients that you train with. So there's different ways of having one-to-one coaching in the new world that we see. But ultimately, the accountability is what they're paying for from you. So you can decide how you want to build up your different levels of offerings as a PT. But we see a lot of trainers having this kind of element of, I'm going to be a fully online coach, and I'll give you a training plan that will train every 2 to 4 weeks. We'll do a check-in, nutrition plans, and I'll make you accountable. And they might charge X for that. For me, I think that's one element of it. I think they're missing a trick by not still having one-to-one physical clients. I think it gives you more credibility, and that's the way I think we're seeing a lot more trainers go onto that side of it as well. So how do you offer one-to-one coaching? So it's a personalized service, like we said. So this is where you can charge more, because if I was training you remotely, Colin, you're now getting an hour of my time, whereas people who buy my digital 12-week plan are not getting any of my time. All I'm doing then is updating their macros and holding them accountable to their check-in, whereas you and me are actually having a personalized service where I'm getting to know you better. I'm understanding any limiting habits you may have. I'm understanding how you move because I can see you train, etc. So we make it a very personalized offering. We could do it through video calling, and then you want to make sure you keep it limited. You know, what you see some trainers drop the ball a little bit is they get all excited and they get a bit of success, and all of a sudden they have 60 to 70 people online they're servicing, and it's just not attainable. Same way you couldn't do 60 to 70 people in a health club. If you're doing one-to-one coaching, it is one-to-one. There's limited time you can do. You want to maximize what you're going to charge, but you need to make sure there's quality in the sessions you do, and not just taking anybody who's willing to pay you the money. And I think that's the hardest thing for young and upcoming trainers to understand is, if I'm doing remote coaching and I have 40 people who want to train me, or 50 people, I'm going to take everyone and charge them X. But your service and your standards drop really quickly. And so we always say, limit it to 20, 30 hours that you're willing to do. And then that's, whether that is in, like I say, in the physical or in the digital, that is your 20 to 30 hours where you're coaching. The rest of the time is spent on your other digital products and offering. And then if there's a supply and demand, have a waiting list. You know, people won't stay with you forever. You know, the best trainers in the world will still lose 20% of their clients through natural attrition for people achieving their goals, moving away, financial, etc. So you always have a waiting list. So as soon as somebody moves out of your premium offering, the next person can step up into it. Mm-hmm. And then market one-to-one coaching. So you market via your memberships and your digital products. So what we're saying here is you kind of bring people into your digital products as your first. So this will be and you'll see this all over social media, whether it's good or bad, but if it's a 12-week transformation or a recovery program or a 4-week weight loss program, that's your digital product. Someone comes in and does a digital product with you, they like it, they get some sort of results. You then sell them into your membership offering. They go into your membership offering, and then you try to get them to come into your one-to-one coaching. So you kind of so these are 3 different levels you have. So what you then got to think about is, now that I've got these 3 different levels, how do I put it all together? Because trainers will be thinking, okay, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. What does the client buy is the next step. So the clients can get all this confusion coming in, which is where the value ladder comes in. And this is how we simplify it to a client, because there's a lot of stuff we've gone over, and people watching this or trainers watching this will be like, well, I'm going to offer this, this, and this in my digital products. I'm going to offer this, this, and this in my one-to-one coaching. My membership is going to be this. If I'm a client looking in, what am I paying $9.95 for? What am I paying £180 for? What am I paying £500 a month for? How do I know what is what? And how do you as a trainer maximize that? So the value ladder talks about how we structure and how we place our products within our business. So if you kind of see there in the slide, prospecting. So this is kind of slightly different to what trainers are probably aware of, but this is where you spend your time giving away free content, social media, emails, adding value. This is where you build up, you know, if you were ever to do gym sales, which gym membership sales, which some people would have done, it's getting you your leads. So you got to prospect. You got to get people interested in you. You got to find a way to market them. So whether it's pushing out your social media, whether it's doing weekly blogs to people that are in your ecosystem, but this is where you spend your time just building that out and adding value. And then kind of your low price will be getting people into your membership and your digital products. And then you'd be spending actually less time on your high price because that run looks after itself. So majority of your time will be spent in the free content and building that up and having that audience that you can push it through. So when you go and put it all together, this is exactly how it should look. And then, you know, if this was me and I was looking at how I build my business, I'd be having buckets under my digital product. So what does it come in? What does a member get from my digital product? What does it look like, that offering? What does my membership, so they can see the differentiation? So if they're in a digital product, what do they get if they only buy the membership? And then what will they get from the one-to-one coaching? So you kind of want a bit like that Gantt chart with the tick boxes going, if you buy a digital product, you get this, this, and this, but you don't get this, this, and this, and else you buy one-to-one coaching. So that way you can make it really simple for a client to know what it is they're buying from you. So your first action, like we spoke about, is always to kind of get people into one-to-one coaching. So as a summary, we said limit this to 20 to 30 people. It wants to be exclusive, and then always have people on your waiting list. But this is what you want because this is your highest ticket item. So you want to get as many people you can into one-to-one coaching. Your next focus will be your digital products. So you might promote these at the end of the month because consumer buying behavior will always be they get paid at the end of the month, or next month I'm going to start getting healthy. So it's a good time to target it. Time-based discounts. So you always want to have a promotion to push out to people because people love a good offering, especially when they have a bit more cash. And you just got to look at the big businesses in the world. You know, any supplement company, any kit company will always do a massive push towards month end because they know that consumers are interested in buying, and there's a lot more expendable income at that time of the year. But that time of the month. But you make sure they're not always available. So if you're doing a 12-week transformation, you shouldn't have a 12-week transformation available all the time. And that's where you might team it and say summer transformation, you know, get ready for Christmas, New Year, new you, whatever you want to do. But you want to kind of have a bit of an understanding that it's not the same product all the time, because somebody might look at you and not buy from you. And if they come back in 3 months' time and it's the same product, you can't keep offering discounts on that same product.
Yeah.
And then your secondary focus is to get people into your membership. You know, so you promote this to anyone who's done any of your digital products. So if I take 10 people a month through my body transformation package, that's 10 people at the end of their transformation package that I sell the membership option to, because I still want to try to get them to spend some money with me as a trainer. And I might give them a free trial going, great, we've achieved your results after your 12-week transformation. I'm now going to give you 30 days access to my membership, and I hope you decide to stay with me for longer. And it's $9.99 a month. So you'd build it in that respect. So that's kind of how you'd put it all together. And then the next piece, which we probably won't get into today, will be then putting a roadmap. So what does your roadmap look like? So here's an example of a roadmap that we would use. So you've got like your 12-week products, and then you're always promoting the next one. So I might do my new you in January in the tech world. I'll be pushing it out, and then I'll start promoting my next one kind of mid-March. So I'll take in people in January as I'm delivering that January and February, and then as that's coming to an end in March, I'll start pushing my next transformation package out. And then I'll always have my membership model underneath that. And you can see there, as that transformation or 12-week package is closing down, that's when I'll start pushing people into my membership business. Which, if you kind of go back to what we spoke about at the start, is the membership is the holy grail in the tech world. You want that reoccurring revenue coming in. So if you only get 10 people to buy your 12-week product at the start, there's 10 people you can sell a membership. If 20 people buy your next one, there's 20 people. And then at the course of a year, you can have 50 people paying you a membership, which is that extra revenue and that kind of security blanket in your business that people want. So that's kind of the way we see a lot of trainers run it inside our platform. And then obviously there's different ways you can do that based on your own interest as a PT. So one other thing I kind of put in there as a note, and I see a lot of it in the world, is trainers don't stay in their lane. So they try to do too much. So, you know, for me, I love hypertrophy and I love body composition, but I shouldn't be running triathlon packages, you know, because it's not what I'm passionate about, and you'll get found out very quickly. So I would say it's really important you just stick to what you know. You know, you're competing in a space, you know, in the gym, you're only competing with 10 trainers on the gym floor. In the tech world, you're competing with an awful lot of people through social media, etc. So make sure you're focused on what you want to be good at and really spend your time growing it. And then investing time in your own platform to build out your own business, you know, is the way to go, because 6 months to a year from now is where you'll have your membership and your recurring revenue guaranteed coming in.
It's fascinating that. If you don't mind me asking, because I think there's a really interesting element to that. So because, which I completely agree with, your contact coaching is the premium offer. That's where you're physically engaging, leading the session, responsive to the session. So off the back of that, and I don't know if you have access to this data, if we then look geographically, coaches within the system, do they keep quite a tight geography around their online membership? Or do you find there's a massive disparity? Do you have 20 clients that you're coaching in person, in the flesh every week, and then you've got people from 3,000 miles away who are buying into your online offer? Or do you find it's closer?
It's mix and match. Like there's some trainers that are, very good on social media, regardless of people's opinion. It's obviously, it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. But you have a lot of trainers who actually have people who follow them who really want to get connected to them. But if I'm as an example, if I'm a client and I'm up in Scotland and I'm really interested in training with this trainer who's in London and looks cool and all the content's great, I'll never be in London to train with that trainer. So you see a lot of that where you see someone in Scotland connecting into our platform to work with that trainer and do the remote coaching, and then they go and train elsewhere. But they love, because now they're getting the trainer they want and they're able to crack on and get connected to that trainer. So we do see an awful lot of people connecting and buying into the product that trainer offers. So it's not just like 2-mile radius. We do see a lot of people connecting, and that's the biggest thing for us. A lot of trainers are like, I can't believe how many clients I've got from outside my area, because ultimately it comes from referral. So if I train 10 people and those 10 people have aunties or uncles or friends who are in different parts of the world, I might be like, well, actually, you should come and train with my friend Colin. He's a great PT and he's got this cool platform and a cool app that does all the training you might need. Now you can purchase that, whereas 5 years ago, you couldn't unless you were in London. So we do see a lot of that happening, and that's obviously why you're seeing a lot of trainers trying to move fully online, because there is so much potential and there's a bigger net of clients than only having the clients that are in a couple of mile radius.
Yeah. That's kind of what I suspected, but I was just interested to find out, because obviously you're much closer to the data, because that's really where the opportunity is. And I think that's what the appeal, prior to the influence of COVID, I think the appeal to online, having an online presence was that you broadened your geography and you were recruiting from wide and far. So because, a certain amount of this now, which I think is a positive. I think in any period of change, there's always a positive that comes out of it, because we break behaviors. And people who had some trepidation or concern over moving online, and even everything from having a meeting, never mind coaching, had to do it really quick, didn't we? We knew lockdown was coming and you had to get your act together, and to survive you had to move online. So people have upskilled or tried to upskill quickly. What have you seen in the wake of that? Is there any insight you have on that with regards to people who are already present within that part of the market, and what's happened because all this big influx of newbies has come in, having a go at it?
Yeah, so what you've seen is, thinking back to March, it was a race to go online, wasn't it? Obviously globally the world closed down, and then all of a sudden it was, everybody was doing a Zoom workout at 9:30 on Monday morning, and you could just crack on and go at it. But what we saw was trainers now don't understand how to commercialize it. So they gave out all this free content in a race to the bottom, through no fault of their own. They were trying the best thing, but they didn't know what they were doing. They were kind of just going, oh, I need to get online, I need to make money. Here's this. And they were just throwing everything at clients. And the clients didn't know what it was they were actually getting, whereas the ones that actually had a good understanding or had already been in the tech world had that membership model already working, where every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, they might have had a live Zoom class and they had 25 to 30 participants. They might have had X amount of different digital products available. And then all of a sudden they started meeting the client where the client needed to be met. So what I would do is go, okay, we're in March. I'm now going to put together a 4-week program for bodyweight, because nobody has any kit at home. I'm going to put a 4-week program together for minimalistic kit, because some people have some kit. And then I'm going to put a 4-week program together for home gym, for people who have home gyms. I now have met my 3 different clients at different areas, and then I can charge them for that. Whereas the trainers who didn't have that understanding were just dumping stuff out there. And then in April or May are like, I need to make money. So I think we've seen a lot of trainers give away a lot of great content, and now they're trying to understand how they reel it back in and make money from it. And that's where I think it's having the understanding on building that membership model and having that set up already would have made it a lot easier. And that's where, you know, if a second spike comes and we know the clients are okay with remote coaching and they're okay with doing Zoom, what is your offering? What are you going to market to them? And what is your price point? You can't just decide to throw stuff at it.
So on that note then, if you could be so considerate, what would you say are, let's start with the negatives. What are the common pitfalls that you've noticed prior to lockdown, but also amidst lockdown? What are the common pitfalls that a coach encounters when they try to move into an online space and start to get going?
Yeah, the biggest thing is they don't give it enough time. They kind of go and download a platform or do remote coaching, push out, 12 week is standard obviously, but they push out a 12-week program and they get 2 people that sign up and they go, this isn't for me. You know, it's like you walk in a gym floor. You can't go and do your first day of the PT and walk a gym floor and expect 2 people to hand over £200 to buy a 4-pack from you. You got to build trust. You got to be authentic. You got to add value. But in the coaching world and digital, people just give up on it too quick. So, you know, like anything, I would say they have to invest time in it. They need to build out the different levels of their membership offering. They need to then market it. They need to push it out and and like anything, you got to give it 6 to 9 months to really get any traction going. Same way, you know, if a trainer walks into any commercial health club, you're not going to be knocking out 30 sessions a week in 6 months unless you're just selling a dream. You've got to put in the graft. You've got to add trust. You've got to add value. And it's the same in the digital world. It takes time.
Yeah. So then what would be on the flip then, looking at the pitfalls, someone comes to you now, starting off, wants to get started and wants to try and get more right and be successful, build success from the start. What are your go-to kind of bits of advice or guidance for those guys?
Yeah, so it goes back to, I have a lot of my friends who are trainers out, and I go back to that Gantt chart. We're going to have digital products. What are you good at? Let's build out your digital offering. Then we're going to talk about your membership. What's in your membership? What can you actually offer people that is of value, and what does that look like, and how much do you think you can charge? And what is your one-to-one coaching? What is your premium one-to-one coaching, and what is your digital one-to-one coaching? And then you kind of put it all together, and then it's then go off, create that inside a platform. So have it all available, that it can be available for people to download. So if I'm in bed at midnight and someone in America decides to buy my package, that can be done when I'm sleeping. So I wake up in the morning and going, X person has bought your 12-week transformation package. And that's where digital is great. So I'd spend the first 2 to 3 weeks building my platform, building my programs, building my membership, my packages. Then I would build my website to house it, and then I would just market it. And that's where you spend the next 4 to 5 months once you have it built, is to pushing it, market out. So spending time at the start in the first 3 or 4 weeks to build it out, and, you know, putting on your own exercises so you can be the star, your own app, etc., and your own branding, etc., all the stuff that you should be doing. Too many trainers just think, I'll give it a go, and then lose interest because it didn't happen overnight.
Yeah. On that, what do you like? What's your understanding of, you know, being reasonable? And I know how long's a piece of string, but what's the time you predict that people should start to see, assuming they're getting most things right, planning it effectively, putting in good content? What's the time before you really start to see it starting to gain some ground, consolidate, and start to show some meaningful success?
Like anything, we can see people who hit the ground running in 2 weeks, and, you know, there's people I've seen that have had literally 1,000 clients in 2 weeks. But then they've got massive social media followings, and it's very different than the average Joe Soap, effectively. So I would say, like, for the average trainer like myself, if I was going online, it's 6 to 9 months before you have a fully business, where you're in a position where you need to decide, am I now going fully online, or am I staying doing a hybrid? So I'd say 6 to 9 months is what you want to do for the average trainer, just to put in the graphs, which is why you need to keep the one-to-one training going as well as your premium offering as you create both of them in the hybrid world.
Yeah. What are your thoughts then on, because you've mentioned it at least once or twice now, you know, social media, characters who have a big online presence and quite a big voice. You know, I think a lot of people are intimidated and think, well, if they don't have a bazillion followers on this hanging off their every word, then they're not going to get heard, and they're not going to find a space online. What are your kind of thoughts and attitudes towards that?
Yeah, so the way you got to think about it is, it's not about how many followers you have, it's how engaged your followers are with you. And that's the big thing. So you can have 20,000 followers that are just following you because you're putting up nice pictures or whatever. If you only have 200 followers and they're engaged in you and they're interested in buying from you, then you're in a better business.
Right.
And that's what you see all the time. We see people with low followings who are killing it because the people are following in them and they want to buy from them. People with massive, large followings are just there because of some potential artificial purpose versus actually people buying from them. So it's kind of having that engaged following. So it's not about the followers, it's about actually how engaged they are and will they buy from you. And one of the biggest tests you can do is create a website, put some packages and see the click-throughs. You know, if you have 200 followers and 50 people click through, that means 25% of your audience is engaged in you. You know, if you have 200,000 followers and, you know, only 100 people click through and you've got like 2-3% engagement, you're not in a good position. They're not going to buy from you. So it's about having an engaged following, and that's the biggest key.
Yeah, that echoes something. I had a couple of, I won't name names, but meetings this year with big global tech companies who previously they'd looked to recruit people based on numbers of followers. And they said there's been like a landslide change in that now. And they're looking for people with real world credibility and online authenticity. That's what they're looking for now. So that kind of mirrors that kind of the figures and your approach to it, really, isn't it?
So I think even if you're not doing remote coaching, it's about giving yourself good brand standards. I know that's some people might not understand that, but you know, walking around with pieces of papers in this day and age, you know, you mightn't embrace tech, but your clients probably are. Your clients don't want to be given a workout on a piece of paper. They want to actually have record of performance. They want their homework sent to them digitally. You know, and it's not just an email or a PDF anymore. They expect more than that if they're paying a premium. So you don't have to go into the world of remote coaching. You can just literally give yourself a better brand standard and a better experience for your clients by having a tech element to it. And so I would just say that even if you're only having 20 people in your platform, at least you're giving a good experience and they know where all their results are. They know where all their workouts are and it's all stored in one place versus the old days of here's 15 workouts we created. Here's what you have on a piece of paper where your body fat was. And it's just a mix and match. And I think your clients will expect more nowadays.
Yeah. There's definitely, I think that's across the board, isn't it? And every time there's a step forward in how things appear and feel, people expect everything to move with it, don't they? Yeah,
absolutely. It's just having different offerings. I think it's going back to that whole piece of the membership. You know, if you're a new trainer and you're thinking 3 years from now, I might have 20 to 30 to 40 people that I've trained that have moved on. You can now potentially get revenue from some of those people that you could never get in the past. So it's about having that foresight to think about, actually, if I build it now, I'll be able to continue to take revenue in time from these people because they're buying from me. Like yourself, if I think of all the ex-clients I've trained over the years that now would love to train with me again, but they might live in different countries or they haven't got the money, had I had a $5.99 or $9.99 offering, they'd still probably have purchased from me and I'd still have them. So I think there's just having that element of material where you can give them something and some value so they stay with you, and because they like you, they're buying from you, but they mightn't always be able to buy your premium offering. And in the old days, once they didn't buy a premium offering, they were kind of kicked out. So you're no good to me now. You know, and so now you can service them and you can still take money, and then when things are better for them, they can buy from you again because they like what you've done for them when they were going through hard times, etc.
And I guess one final one that adds to that, really, because I know there's a lot of concern, certainly in the UK, and I know to a certain extent in the US. You know, you've mentioned a lot about 12-week packages. There are more and more concerns nowadays about people, you know, doing 12-month membership. You know, you pay X amount and you've got a 12-month membership, and there's been a lot of backlash to that. What are your thoughts? Do you think, you know, cut a reasonable cloth? 12 weeks, get someone to buy something off the shelf, that's fair enough. Otherwise, a monthly subscription that they can stop at any time. Or do you still advocate the annual pay up front, do a good deal membership?
No, personally, I think annuals are where you can reduce it a bit. So if somebody's buying into your membership and your membership's just used for rounding, we go, it's £10 a month. So it's £120 a year. You might say, rather than do direct debit, you can have this membership for £99 if you buy the annual. And that's as far as I would go as an annual. I wouldn't get too caught up in it. I don't think people want that anymore. I think the big thing you got to remember is, especially on the membership piece, is the free trial. In the tech world, people want to try it, see if it's for them. See, are they getting the value of $9.99 and what it is you're giving them that they want to part with $9.99 a month? So I would have annual as a potential for some people who want to just buy because they love you. And like, if I'm training with you for the last 5 years, I'm happy to give you £100 up front because I know I'm going to stay there and get value. But I wouldn't be using it as my front runner, as my business model now. I'd be kind of going down the 30-day free trial, then let's go into $9.99 a month and you can cancel any time. There's a reason Netflix can do this, all these guys with all the big tech insights.
Yeah, yeah. And on that note, because I find that interesting, does that typically prove itself to be more successful? By numbers, is that approach the one that wins hearts and minds and proves to be more successful?
Yeah, because people are not put off by the upfront cost. You know, it's the cancel any time is this safety net that they want, and people are happy with subscriptions coming out nowadays, like left, right, and center. Like if you look at, not to go back, obviously we're talking tech, but the likes of Apple, they're bringing subscriptions for everything.
Yeah.
You know, and it's this, you know, Netflix. Everyone's happy with subscriptions nowadays, and that's the trend. How long it lasts, God knows. But subscription is right now. People are happy with it and they're okay with it. Whereas, you know, my mum and dad were all about wipe the mortgage off, don't have any money, get rid of all payments, nothing going out. So we're just in a different time of life, I guess.
Yeah. And I guess just adding to that, which is a personal gripe of mine, you know, when we look at discounts and offers, one of the things that really drives me mad is when you've got a PT or a coach who is constantly saying, I'm normally £50, $50 a session, but I'm doing a discount so that I'm £30 a session, and you know, selling this month. And I would say, well, you're not really a $50 an hour coach. You're a $30 who once in a while tries to be cheeky and charge 50. Yeah. Would you agree that like creates that perception, or do you think that's fair dinkum and people are just trying to sell some deals?
No, I think they're devaluing themselves. That's my personal opinion on it. I think, you know, personal training is personal training. If you're good, you should never worry about a price increase. You should never worry about charging a bit more if you've backed it up with good education and good quality service. So I see it all day long as well. And they're just kind of going into that. I just need a deal. And at some point when people are, especially in the one-to-one element, if they're buying a premium service, they don't really want too much of a deal. They want a premium offering. So I think there's a time and a place, like we spoke about, for different promotional packages to help drive volume into your business. But as your main offering and your business model, for me, it's not about that. It's about the quality of what you get from the money you spend with me is the key as a PT. If you're spending £70 an hour to train with me, you're going to get more than this, and this. And that's not going to be discounted because the time is the time. Now, that's where we think some trainers get a bit junior and devalue their own time slightly.
Yeah, totally agree. You got to be confident about your price points, haven't you? If you don't believe,
you just got to back it up. Yeah, you got to back up, and that's where testimonials are great. Like, you know, again, as a trainer, if in the digital world, if you're building out testimonials and you've got 30, 40 people in your app giving you testimonials, that's 30, 40 5-star reviews that people are happy to pay with because you must be good. And that's enabling tech to make you look good in the modern world as well. So I think, you know, you look at like the likes of Uber. If I see someone that's a 4 on an Uber, I'm probably going to look at the 5 and go to him.
It's true. It's true, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's true. It's true. Hugh, this has been hugely insightful, fascinating. In fact, is there any final comments or anything you'd like to add that you think people listening to this are going to benefit from the insight of?
Yeah, the only thing I would say is, and this is because, again, a lot of my friends are trainers. Like I said at the start, I still see myself as a PT. And I walk the gym floor every day with my mates, and I love it. Embrace digital. It's not going anywhere. You know, you're going to get left behind if you don't kind of get on board and build out your own business model, ecosystem, and create a value offering for people to buy from you. You know, it's kind of ultimately like you're leaving money on the table. So I think, you know, don't think it's going to happen overnight. You know, do it slow, do it steady. But had you done a year from now, how great would you feel if you had a business model, digital, online, out there making money, subsidizing you with all that's going on in the world? So just kind of say, embrace it and just spend a bit of time building it out, and it'll look after you in time.